We all rely on plumbing every single day. Your morning shower, flushing the toilet, it works. And because it seems so smooth, it's easy to think plumbing is pretty straightforward, right? A pipe here, a valve there, maybe some drain cleaner now and then. But what if I told you that under that simple surface, there's this whole incredibly complex world most of us never even think about, especially when you step out of your house and into, say, a big office building or a busy restaurant. So today we're doing a deep dive into exactly that, the often overlooked but really critical differences between residential and commercial plumbing. We've looked at a fantastic comprehensive comparison source and others too, and it makes it so clear why these distinctions aren't just like technical details. They matter a lot for homeowners, property managers, business owners, pretty much everyone. It's honestly fascinating. Both types of systems, yeah, they aim for the same thing, keeping water flowing safely, but how they do it and the engineering needed to keep them going, it's surprisingly fundamentally different. So get ready for some maybe eye-opening facts and insights that might just change how you look at the pipes around you.
Absolutely. And that's really our goal here in this deep dive,
Yeah.
is understanding these differences. It isn't just for plumbers. For you, listening, whether you're maybe planning a home renovation or thinking about investing in commercial property, getting these fundamental differences is key, really key. It means making informed decisions.
Yeah.
Hiring the right prey for the right job, preventing potentially super costly disruptive problems down the line.
Yeah.
It's really about stopping issues before they even start.
Okay, let's jump right in then. What's the most immediate, the most obvious difference between the plumbing in your home and what you'd find in maybe a big hotel? I'm guessing it has to be the sheer scale, right? Just picturing a house versus a skyscraper.
You've hit on the most foundational difference straight away. Yeah, scale. When we talk residential plumbing, we mean systems for individual homes, maybe a small apartment building, a duplex. These systems handle water supply, drainage, venting for a pretty small number of fixtures. Your
Yeah.
sinks, a couple of tubs, toilets, the water heater. It's let's say, a relatively contained, predictable setup.
Mm-hmm.
Manageable endpoints.
Okay, simple enough.
But then you look at commercial plumbing. Now we're talking buildings that are just orders of magnitude bigger. Huge schools, high-rise hotels, busy restaurants, massive factories, hospitals.
Yeah.
These places aren't dealing with a handful of fixtures. They often have hundreds, sometimes thousands. Toilets, sinks, specialized equipment. And it's not just more fixtures. It's a totally different demand. They need industrial-grade systems, specifically designed for really high, constant use, huge water pressure, and way bigger waste demands than you'd ever see at home.
Right, so it's managing constant peak demand across a whole building, not just, one family turning on a tap.
Mhm.
Can you give us a concrete example, something that really shows that difference?
Sure. Think about it like this. A typical house might have, what, 2 or 3 bathrooms. Pretty straightforward. But a commercial high-rise, that building could easily have dozens of restrooms on many floors, plus kitchens, utility rooms, maybe labs, and every single one of those points needs constant pressurized water and adequate drainage, all working at the same time, ideally without any interruption. This scale, this constant, intense demand, it fundamentally changes everything. How it's engineered, installed, maintained. It's not just a bigger version of home plumbing. It's a completely different engineering beast.
That makes total sense. And with that kind of scale and demand, the next question has to be about the rules. So it's not just pipes and water. The regulations, the codes must be different too, right?
Exactly. For residential plumbing, the codes are generally based on the International Residential Code, the IRC. These codes are really tailored for smaller, less complex buildings and systems. They reflect that more contained environment we talked about. Simpler systems.
Okay, the IRC for homes.
Commercial buildings, though, operate under a much stricter, more comprehensive set of rules. Mainly, they follow the International Plumbing Code, or IPC. That's a much broader standard. But wait, there's more. Commercial spaces also have to comply with the Americans with Disabilities Act, the ADA.
Ah, right, accessibility.
Yep. Things like grab bar placement, toilet height in public restrooms, clearance space, things not typically required in a private home. And often, there are local health department rules, specific fire code standards too. These codes get really specific. Pipe sizes, water pressure requirements, fixture placement, and crucial things like, say, mandatory grease traps in commercial kitchens to stop fats and oils clogging up the main sewer lines.
So, wow, it's way beyond just making water flow. It's public safety, accessibility, preventing huge infrastructure problems. That ADA example really highlights it.
Precisely. It's about ensuring everyone has safe access and that businesses run hygienically without causing problems for public services. The rules protect a much wider group of people.
Okay, let's shift gears a bit. Let's talk wear and tear. You mentioned high usage in commercial places. This seems really interesting for durability. I mean, my toilet at home, maybe it gets flushed a dozen times a day. What happens when you have hundreds, maybe thousands of people using the same fixture daily?
That's a great point because it dictates the whole design approach. Residential fixtures, they're built for, let's call it low to moderate use. Your home toilet isn't under constant assault. You know, it's designed for intermittent use. The demands are relatively light.
Makes sense.
Commercial plumbing, on the other hand, it faces way higher, way more frequent usage. Think about a restroom in a school or a busy mall or a stadium. Those fixtures might get used hundreds, maybe thousands of times every single day, constantly. Because of that relentless demand, they have to be incredibly heavy duty and often tamper-proof too. And there's a key technical difference you often see. Commercial toilets frequently use flushometers.
Ah, those lever things in public restrooms.
Exactly. Those valves give a quick, powerful flush. They don't use the gravity-fed tanks like most homes. They're built for repeated, rapid use and deliver a much stronger, more consistent flow needed for high traffic.
So it's not just bigger, it's completely re-engineered for constant, let's face it, abuse. What about the actual materials? Are the pipes and fittings different too?
Oh, absolutely. This higher demand means the materials themselves have to be tougher, more resistant to clogs, corrosion, general wear and tear. You'll often see really robust materials like copper, cast iron, and also industrial-grade plastics like certain types of PEX or PVC. These are chosen specifically for their strength and long-term durability under really intense conditions. It's about building something to last under constant pressure, not just meeting a basic need. Resilience is key.
Okay, so we've got the initial build, the tough materials, but once these huge complex systems are up and running, how do you keep them going smoothly? I imagine maintaining them is worlds apart from me fixing a leaky P-trap under my kitchen sink.
You're spot on. In a house, if you have a plumbing issue, it's often a fairly quick fix, right? Maybe you replace that U-shape of pipe under the sink, the B-trap.
Right, done that. Or unclog a drain.
Exactly. Maybe use a plunger, a basic snake. It's usually a one-off repair, sometimes even a DIY job. Commercial systems, totally different story for ongoing care. They absolutely need ongoing, strict maintenance schedules. Frequent professional inspections. Why? To prevent incredibly expensive shutdowns. Just think about the stakes. A leak in a busy restaurant's main water line, or a backed-up drain in a hotel during check-in. That can mean huge financial losses, lost business, damaged property, maybe even serious health code violations forcing them to close. The impact is just massive compared to a home problem.
Yeah, the stakes are way, way higher, financially, reputationally. Are there specific parts in commercial systems that need special, maybe regulated maintenance, things homeowners never deal with?
Definitely. What's interesting is that many commercial buildings have components that are actually regulated, like backflow prevention devices.
What do those do again?
They stop contaminated water from flowing backward into the clean water supply, crucial for public health. And things like booster pumps, to keep water pressure up across many floors. Their maintenance isn't just a good idea. It's often mandated by city inspection schedules. These aren't minor parts. They're critical systems, keeping the whole building safe and functional. It's serious stuff, meticulously monitored.
Got it. Now let's talk tools. The complexity we're discussing must demand specialized gear, right? Way beyond a basic pipe wrench. I bet a residential plumber's van looks pretty different from a commercial one.
Oh, it's like comparing a regular car mechanic's tools to an aircraft engineer's. Totally different scale and tech. A residential plumber usually has a standard toolkit. Pipe wrenches, maybe a couple of different augers or snakes for common clogs, basic diagnostic tools. They're set up for typical home issues. Commercial plumbers, though, they need specialized training and a whole arsenal of advanced equipment. We're talking sophisticated video cameras on long cables to inspect inside vast pipe networks, powerful hydrojetters that blast water at high pressure to clear serious blockages, precise electronic pipe locators to find hidden lines in walls or underground, even trenchless sewer repair machines. These let them fix underground pipes without digging massive trenches.
Wow, hydrojetters, trenchless repair, that sounds serious.
It is. These aren't just bigger versions of home tools. They're entirely different technologies for much bigger, more complex problems.
And beyond just the tools, what about the systems themselves? What are commercial plumbers dealing with that homeowners just don't have?
Good question. It's not just the tools, it's the systems they connect to. Commercial plumbers routinely work on things rarely found in homes, like large-scale boiler systems for heating entire buildings. Commercial-grade water heaters designed for high-volume, continuous use. Those mandatory grease traps in restaurants and food service places. Specialized lift stations or sump pumps that move wastewater up from basements or lower levels.
Right, things you just don't see in a house.
Exactly. And don't forget the complex pressurized water systems feeding dozens or hundreds of fixtures, rooftop drainage systems for large buildings, and large-scale fire suppression sprinkler systems. These all involve plumbing integration and need expert knowledge. It's a huge interconnected world.
That sounds like it requires serious flexibility. Which brings me to the practical side, scheduling the work. How does the need to keep a business running affect when commercial plumbing work gets done? You can't just shut down a hotel kitchen during lunch rush, right?
You absolutely can't. That's a huge difference. In a residential setting, if your sink leaks, you call a plumber, schedule it during the week, maybe take a few hours off work. It's usually manageable.
Yeah, relatively simple.
In commercial settings,
Yeah.
that flexibility often just disappears. Plumbing work frequently have to be done after hours or on weekends, specifically to avoid disrupting the business. Like you said, a hotel can't just turn off water to guest rooms during peak check-in. A restaurant can't close its kitchen during dinner service for a repair. The cost of that downtime is just too high. So this means commercial plumbers need to be incredibly flexible. They often work nights, weekends, holidays, whatever it takes to minimize disruption. It really is a 247 kind of commitment sometimes, carefully planned around the business's operations.
Okay, so we've covered scale, codes, durability, maintenance, tools, scheduling. All these differences seem to point towards the bottom line. And risk. It probably won't shock anyone that the cost and the potential liability must be vastly different too.
That's the critical summary, exactly. The cost of commercial plumbing work is almost always significantly higher than residential. And that's not just random pricing. It reflects the huge scale, the specialized, often more expensive materials, the complexity of the job, and crucially, the much, much greater liability if something goes wrong.
Can you illustrate that liability difference?
Sure. Think about a leak. A pipe leaks in your house, maybe it damages the bathroom ceiling, the floor below. It's annoying, expensive, but usually contained. Manageable. Now, picture a similar leak in a commercial building. That could shut down the entire business. It could damage thousands, maybe hundreds of thousands of dollars in inventory. It affects potentially hundreds of people, customers, employees. I remember one case, a pipe burst above a big electronics store. Water everywhere, ruined massive amounts of inventory, forced them to close for weeks. The financial fallout was enormous. Millions in losses eventually.
Wow, that paints a stark picture. Makes perfect sense why commercial plumbers need way more insurance.
Exactly right. That's precisely why they carry substantially higher liability insurance. And businesses usually demand detailed contracts, proof of insurance, extensive compliance documents before work even starts. They also use specialized tools for safety and accuracy, like thermal imaging cameras to find hidden leaks without tearing open walls, or pressure testing kits to make sure the system is sound after a repair. It's all part of managing that higher risk and responsibility, protecting assets and people.
Okay, and let's wrap up these differences with the bureaucracy, the permits and inspections. I know I needed a permit for my water heater, but I'm guessing it's a whole different level for a commercial building.
You're right again. It's a significant difference in how rigorously things are checked. For home plumbing jobs, yeah, you might need a permit for bigger things, water heater swap, major sewer line work. But the inspections are usually less intense, often just one visit to sign off when the work's done.
Pretty simple, yeah.
Commercial projects almost always require multiple permits, and they go through regular, strict inspections at basically every stage, especially for new construction, big remodels, or if the building's use changes like turning offices into apartments. Cities often mandate specific, scheduled inspections for those critical things we talked about: backflow preventers, grease traps in kitchens, the whole drainage system. It's a much more layered, ongoing, and mandatory process, all about ensuring public safety and code compliance every step of the way. It's a big part of the job itself.
Wow, okay, what an incredible deep dive into something we usually just, take for granted. It really hammers home that main point. Both types of plumbing get water where it needs to go, sure, but the how is profoundly different. It demands totally specialized expertise. It's clear residential plumbers are the experts for our homes, for those everyday repairs, but commercial spaces, they need that advanced training, those super durable systems built for heavy use and constant attention to codes.
And this really brings up a key question for you, the listener. Whether you're a homeowner or manage a business property, are you hiring the right professional? For businesses, property managers, it's absolutely vital to get a licensed commercial plumber, someone who gets the unique complexities, the regulations, Trying to save a buck here can lead to disastrous, expensive problems. And for homeowners, sticking with a residential specialist usually means faster, more affordable service tailored exactly to your home's needs. Knowing that difference really can save you headaches and money.
Absolutely. So next time you're going about your day, maybe taking a shower at home, grabbing coffee somewhere, take a second to think about that unseen, intricate network of systems keeping everything running. It's not just about bigger pipes, it's a whole different engineering philosophy for a different purpose. Makes you wonder, doesn't it? How many other simple services we rely on have this incredibly complex hidden world operating just beneath the surface? Something to